Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sharpest Tool. JRP here, along with Bosco.
Yo.
Pretty pumped. Back for another episode of Sharpest Tool. So welcome back, everybody. It's great to be with you here. What are we talking about today, though, Bosco?
Okay.
What's the topic?
All right, so we got some good stuff today. We're still talking about social media marketing. First of all,
social media marketing.
100% is got to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about video and how that plays its role within social media marketing. And really, why video? What about video? Yeah. Should I do it?
Yeah.
That, to me, I think is going to be the biggest thing. I think we should pretty much just start jumping into this.
I agree, but wait. I got one question for you. Where do polar bears keep their money?
We're doing this. Okay, we're doing this. All right. Where do polar bears keep their money?
Yeah. Where do polar bears?
In an igloo.
In a snowbank.
Come on.
Come on, that's a pretty good one. All right. So with that, we're going to jump into the role of video in social media marketing. You know what's interesting is years ago, I don't think this mattered. It really didn't matter as much.
It really did not.
And it was, social media was always touted. It was the underserved kind of channel in terms of how you expand brand. It was underserved in the sense of it was cheap, dirt cheap. And I think we're seeing it continue to increase as competition continues to increase. More and more of these directories and social media channels are offering advertising. It's become a pretty complex machine. And one of the things that we've seen is it's not even the advent of video anymore. It's in full swing. Video has become so essential to your social media strategy, way above and beyond just doing a blog and posting a blog or sharing a text-based link or an image or something like that. Those are all good, but video has become indispensable, would you say?
I would. And I think we just need to reinforce the message here too, in terms of what social media is. I mean, we've touched on this the past few episodes, but I was just talking to my wife about this, that years ago, we had our first son, he's 11 now. And years ago, you didn't see a lot of these videos or social media platforms are out there, of course. We know that. And it's just grown. It's massive, right? It's just a place to be, to get people engaged with you. And she's been getting all these different videos on, we got, by the way, we do have a new girl coming in February. Very excited for that addition to the family.
Congratulations. Yes.
She's getting all these videos on social media about infants and care. Now, obviously it's information overload. But I remember 11 years ago, there was all this information that we didn't even know about. Where are we getting most of it from? Well, social media, right? So the power of social media in any business, doesn't matter what you're doing, you've got to do it. But in the home service industry, most of all, people are going to absorb this information. And guess what they're doing it on? Video.
Yeah.
Video is crucial. I don't want to read a bunch of stuff. People don't want to read stuff anymore. Video is crucial, but it's also about the quality of the video.
Yeah, I think, if we step back, just look at video, even outside the social media realm, and as that applies to small businesses, video itself has evolved, right? Content creators have become such a massive thing in the past 20 years. I remember, think about 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago, before digital cameras started to get really advanced in terms of the film look and the aesthetic, like you had to pay big bucks to get a big camera that actually allowed you to shoot really high quality video. And now we've gotten to such a degree where our cell phones are able to shoot pretty impressive video, 4K quality footage. Like, this is insane. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Bosco and I both have a background in audiovisual in the video world. And so we've seen and watched this evolution. Bosco, what's been your experience with that as you've seen things evolve? What are some of the key things that you've seen that have made video more, I guess, accessible to people who want to create it and create high quality?
That's it. It's the accessibility. And I think a lot of the industries that are pushing a lot of it, we'll use the iPhone as the example here. Yeah. I know Android's been doing theirs for quite some time too, and pushing out better quality images and even photography. And it used to be, I remember I would have to sit there and try to think about how much is this going to cost me to shoot a short film that I want to run, I can't shoot the things I wanted to. I've looked at footage even back when I did on the original iPhones, and it was just like, I can't believe I shot this. But back then it was like, this is what it is. But in terms of the production quality that I wanted to go for, I knew I would have to be paying top dollar, renting the equipment that I had to. Now I could just pull my phone out of my pocket and go, great, I'm shooting some raw footage here. Here we go. Right. And it's just, to me, it's been, to be honest, a phenomenal journey in terms of what I can capture on the phone, in terms of what I can capture in video, and how quickly and accessible I can start posting it. And that's the key here too, is that the accessibility in terms of what you can actually capture and post out there to get your people engaged, quickly doing it, just it's easier than ever before, really. So
yeah. And you know what's funny is I think even like 10 years ago when we were when you really started to see the digital camera revolution just completely transform creators' ability to create content, high quality content. And 10 years ago, you could really tell the difference, right? Tell the difference between high quality content and not on social media, because cell phones weren't quite there yet. So there was still this gate. There was this barrier to entry for a content creator. You had to be able to invest into good content or good equipment and everything in order to be able to do that. But then as cell phones continued to improve their ability to capture high quality photos, you saw the filter movement, right? A lot of companies creating filters. Instagram was huge in this. You see this with Facebook. You see this with stories, stickers, the filters, not just for photos now.
I want to keep filters on all the time because I am forever 20.
Right? That's exactly it. But what you started to see is that when it came to social media content creation, high quality, high, massive budget things became less and less important, I think, over time, as opposed to the raw authenticity and the genuine nature of what somebody's able to produce, even from their phone. And so you started to see people who were just producing content with their phones start to really get a lot of interest because it became more about the quality of the content as opposed to the quality of the production. And so I think it's interesting because when we talk about producing high quality video content, it's easy to get hung up on thinking that you need to have this Hollywood film in production in order to create high quality content. Now, to be clear, you will still notice a difference between a high quality production and something that was just shot with your phone. But for those who haven't even started getting into this mindset of like, I need to have video as part of my social media strategy, the kind of the impulse here is just start, right? And start by providing valuable content that is of quality, is of what your customers ultimately are aiming for, are looking for, they're looking for online. And I think that's the first place to start. The quality can be driven just as much by the content. It actually starts with good quality content, and production value just amps it up. Getting that Hollywood production feel makes it that much better. But starting with the quality content is a good place to start.
Yeah, don't mistake that. What we're saying, of course, is that you don't want to get out your Motorola Razr and start recording. You do need quality. You do need to have some quality so that people are engaged. Because I've seen even back when YouTube was really growing, right, and people are posting online nonstop. If you didn't have good sound quality, people are like, yeah, I'm not listening to this. If you didn't have good video quality, I'm not really listening to this. But we have the accessibility now on what we're using that it's good enough for your audience. Now get the quality of the content out there. Business owners know, gee, as a plumber, I know what people in my area are searching for because I've had to do 20 of these jobs this month when it came to drain cleaning or water heater installation. As an HVAC, guess what? Heating season, winter season, we know that these things come, right? It's getting ready to happen where my customers are going to be talking about this. You're going to want to start putting that quality of the content out there. And a lot of the times it's what people just need to know what is it that I'm dealing with? And so we start putting out this content that is shaped around it, but it's coming from you in video format. People absorb it. They just retain it and they just go back. And then if you keep consistent, we talked about this last time, guys, consistency on what you're doing to keep the engagement, the quality is going to be there of the content, of the production, along with the engagement. You're going to build up this following base. It's going to be, at that point, you're going to have great customers.
Yeah. So I think if you step back, right, this idea of video and social media marketing, it's a must. That's the first point I think we really need to take away is you have to be willing to create something, whether you pay somebody to do it or not, or you do it in-house or you have somebody in. Just start incorporating it into your social media strategy. It's super important, right? And that's why even if you can't afford like a big production package, right, for video to be incorporated in your social strategy, just having a social strategy like we've talked about before, just starting it. Start, because it's not getting any cheaper. And right now it's a very inexpensive way still of expanding your brand and exposing people to your brand. But producing quality content as a part of that, and quality being defined as, first of all, something that's valuable. That is quality, something that's valuable to your potential customer base. It could be how-to videos, for example, about what you're doing. It could be promoting the good work that a technician did at a house. It could be a customer testimonial, sharing like a quick video of a customer who filmed themselves on their phone and talked about their experience. It could be something as simple as that, but it's got substance to it, right? So I think that's the first thing. Start. Quality content is trumps quality production. But then as you continue to increase and improve how you're doing social media video, add production quality, hire a company that can actually come in and actually produce something that stands apart from the rest. We do this with our franchise brands all the time. In fact, I was looking at are the ones that we did for Benjamin Franklin. Pretty impressive quality, actually, when you think about it. Because it's obviously something that we do. But I wanted to share a quick tidbit, so you'll hear it if you're listening to it, but you'll see it if you're watching it. So this is a quick 30-second spot we did for a Benjamin Franklin franchise, and you just sense the difference. But imagine blasting something like this over your social media.
I used up all the hot water. Hey, a little help?
Get off my tank, Karen. I'm on a break. Wow.
Inefficient water heaters waste time. Did you know modern units offer significant energy savings, making replacing an old unit a great investment? We can help. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com to request an appointment. Back in my day, the water heater was called fireplace.
So a little humor baked in, right? But we have you have something that is standing apart, right? You're going to instantly recognize a quality difference in terms of production value. But the content is what's the substance that you want to make sure you're paying attention to.
The thing is, too, they're going to remember this. They're going to sit there and go, the fact that the quality of the content, the humor baked in, right? The consistency of it, you're going to get remembered, right? Yeah. And I want to back it up too on this. What people, and a lot of business owners, they go, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. I hear it all the time. I don't have time for this. I need somebody. Great. We do have a solve for that. But at the same time, start. You just got to start. Get your phone. And I promise you, if you start going out when you're out in the job, right? Get people engaged with you. From there, you're building up a base. You just got to start. It's not as difficult as we make it seem, but when you're ready to actually start building up that quality, that's when you start reaching out and branching out and getting to the right company.
I think it's baby steps too, right? Every time you're out on a job, take a quick picture and then have a plan to post a picture. And it could be once a week. It could be once a month to start. But the goal is to start, right? You don't have to be this person that's posting 3 times a day, 4 times a week, and 4 days out of the week, every single week, right? That work up to that. Don't overthink it. It's easy to look at what a lot of big companies who've been doing this for years and think I got to be there. You don't. Just start though, right? Start by gathering content while you're on jobs or having your techs gather content while they're on jobs, and then start formulating a plan. We can help advise on that, of course, about like what the plan could look like as you continue to expand it. Now, the goal here too is obviously maximizing engagement. The reason why video I think is so powerful is because it's engaging. Think about this. I watch my wife do it all the time. I'm sure you watch your wife do it all the time, Bosco. Yeah. They're sitting down, it's post dinner, kids are watching a show, something's on, right? And they're sitting there flipping through their phone. Everybody's doing this, right?
That might be me.
You're flipping through your phone. You're flipping through your phone. You're flipping through your phone.
And I'm doing it right now.
Flipping. Let me ask you this, Bosco. Does text stand out to you?
No, it really doesn't.
No,
it really doesn't.
But an image, a video, something captivating like that stands out to you. You pause. The goal of video and why video has become so instrumental is, first of all, algorithms love it. Facebook's algorithm loves video content when it comes to boosting social media posts and getting increased reach and visibility, right? But the second thing is your audience, it captivates them. Yeah. It increases engagement with them. Watch time becomes super important. And that's something that Google is super interested in. Are you producing content? Does your website look like? Does your overall presence online captivate your audience? Shows Google that this business is something that people are interested in watching and interested in potentially doing business with. It increases that trust relevancy that you have with Google. So super important to remember that.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure. And again, I think what a lot of people get lost on too is like, if I start video and I've only gotten 2 engagements, I'm done. I don't want to, you have to keep the consistency going.
Yeah.
Right? People who are interested in what you're providing are going to stick with you as long as you keep consistent on doing that. But that's just exactly it. I'm not captivated by the text, right? I see the image, I see the video, the sound, right? When I start, it just stops me. I go, oh, what's this? And you're watching and you're hooked, right? And all of a sudden, maybe I come across you a couple times because the algorithm started feeding it to me because I started watching that post from you a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden I'm going to go, all right, I'm going to start following. And guess what happens? You built up a following base. Guess what? Eventually when I need your service, I'm going to call you.
Bingo. What have you found, I guess, what have you recommended to business owners, Bosco, that are good practical steps to getting started? If you want to start laying out a plan, what's a good way to stay ahead of video trends and just start putting your foot in the water and stepping in on this? What are some good steps that you found effective?
Well, it's really interesting because a lot of trends, when we speak about trends in general, I'll use the Halloween season, right? For whatever reason, this year I have been hearing more than ever. I don't recall it last year, but now because it's been blasted around social media, spooky season starts July 5th, right? But because the social media's grasp on what it can actually accomplish here, it's pushing out the narrative, right? So we talk about trends, really, first of all, be who you are. As a business owner, what is your brand about, right? And don't be afraid to do that, right? And over time, you're going to get familiar and comfortable with your brand and how it pushes. Then you can actually start incorporating those trends that people are jumping on, right? So a lot of the times you want to stay ahead of trends in your business specifically. You want to get to your audience in terms of what it is you actually do and what they're looking for. Then start incorporating some of those trends. So if you were talking about spooky season, what can you incorporate into your video that you're doing that has to do with spooky season? Because guess what? People are hooked on that right now, right? So ideally you have to know, and you actually have to stay engaged with what's going on out there, staying on top of the social media platforms or getting someone who is aware of that to ensure that you're actually incorporating that, right? You got to make sure that you actually have someone that's going to be doing their due diligence. But again, don't be afraid to start. We keep repeating it here. Don't be afraid to start by just posting. You got to make sure you have the awareness out there. So,
you know, a good thought that I've proposed to a lot of business owners too, if you're thinking about where to start, is have your CSRs or whoever's answering the phone or a technician out on a job, or if you're still running jobs and you're out on a job, jot down the questions that your customers ask. Jot down the questions and then build a database of 25 to 30 questions. 25 to 30 questions. And then film a short video, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, where you're answering the question. Hey, so-and-so here from so-and-so's plumbing. And we get this question a lot about how to unclog a toilet or whatever it might be. Here's some simple things to think about before you give us a call. Check this, check this. If you're still not sure, give us a shout. We're more than happy to help guide you, right? Something that's helpful. We're in the age of assistance is what Google dubbed it probably about 4 years ago, where they see so many searches online of people looking for help, looking for assistance, right? So they have dubbed it the age of assistance. So businesses that are producing content that's helpful and is assisting consumers, they are getting the lion's share of this engagement, right? Think of YouTube. YouTube, by and large, second largest search engine, right? Second only to Google. Oh, by the way, they're owned by Google, right? So YouTube is chief among these search engines for, let me find a helpful video on how to do this. I do this all the time, right? So I think that's another good place, a really good place to start. And there's also, Bosco, tell me a bit about all of the different, like some of the different places you want to make sure you're posting videos above and beyond like just Facebook. Like where else would you recommend we make sure to get the content exposed?
Well, you mentioned it before, but first of all, I would have a video gallery on the website because when you get people to your website, you want it on there. I would have a YouTube channel because again, second largest search engine. You need to make sure you've got a YouTube channel. And I've seen quite a few businesses. Yeah.
Well, and by the way, YouTube videos show up in search results, right? So
look at that. I'm telling you, I've seen businesses don't do it.
That caveat too, they show up in search results. So it's really important to make sure the video is, what we call SEO'd, or we have descriptions and keywords and titles that ultimately tell Google what the video is about on YouTube. Anyways, continue.
No,
That's super
that's
important
good.
point.
You've got YouTube. First of all, you want to make sure you're actually creating a channel and getting engagement there. You will build a following over time, right? Facebook is obviously the one. Instagram is another, both owned by Meta, right? Facebook and Instagram.
Yep. Yep.
TikTok is still massive. There's also LinkedIn when it comes to that personal business brand that you're pushing out there, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot more, and even LinkedIn has been switching over to more video content, and I've seen a lot more engagement with video content. It's less about the words that you're producing, and it's about the images and videos that you're putting. So there's platforms like that. There's still Snapchat that's been going around, things like that. But again, your primary one after that is going to be Facebook. Facebook is still number one used social media platform, right? Tied that with Instagram, they're tied together. Use TikTok, use LinkedIn, use Snapchat. Those are at least the ones you can go after and keep people engaged, right? Because your consumers that are sitting on there are viewing it daily.
Yeah. Yeah. And pulling it back, I think if you were to distill it down to like, man, that's a lot. There's so many, I constantly think of this in terms of like, how do you deploy it effectively to all these channels? There's definitely tools out there to help you do that. But if we need to distill it back down to something simple, I think the case is pretty obvious, but make sure you're running it on Facebook. And make sure you're running it on YouTube. YouTube, because it's also got the search, they show up in search results. Facebook, because that's where a lot of your clients or potential clients are going to be hanging out. Really understanding your demographic, especially like the client base that is homeowners. Vast majority of them are on Facebook. So unless you have a specific client base, you're a business that has a client base that's a younger generation, right? That typically is going to be more TikTok driven or Snapchat driven. Facebook's a pretty safe bet, would you say?
I would say if you're going to start small, then start with Facebook. If you're hitting social media platforms, but you don't, I've spoken to numerous businesses about this. They push hard on Facebook, and I say, great. What about YouTube? Oh, I don't have a channel. Great, you're behind. Okay, we need to get a channel created. Let's get that created.
Let's get one
all
created.
these videos you got. Let's put them on there. Let's get going.
That's right. Bingo. Awesome. Well, this has been super helpful, hopefully, to somebody listening. It's helpful for me to always talk to you, Bosco.
Always.
Well, this has been awesome. Roll a video in social media. Don't ignore it. If you haven't jumped on the train, definitely jump on the train. If you need help jumping on the train, please reach out. Let us know. More than happy to chat you through it and walk you through how you can make it effective. So if you have any questions, though, definitely hit us up. But otherwise, hit that like button and definitely smash the subscribe button so you continue to get more awesome content. We have one more video in the social media series, and that is on measuring success in social media campaigns. So stay tuned for that. That video is coming up. Bosco, always good, my friend.
Always good.
Talk to you. Thanks.